In this video we have another boombox. This is another more modern one. Sharp WQ-CD800. And this is a weird one. It's got just basic tape decks and radio, but it's actually got a 5-disc changer in it. And it's got like a sort of rotary thing, or they drop down and slide across and back up again. Quite a unique design. Suppose the CD doesn't work in this one, and the button sticking down, it's quite dirty. And the other unique thing about it is it's the first thing I bought off eBay that actually stank, and it stank rather bad. And that's because in all these screw holes on the back we had some potter wasp or mud dauber wasp, and it had filled it up. What they do is get mud, and there's actually an example of it still on the handle here, down this end. But they get this clay type mud, start filling the holes in, and then put dead spiders in there. I think they're actually not dead at the time, they're paralysed spiders. Lay a little maggot on it, then seal it up and keep stacking in as far as they can in these things, put in multiple spiders. But of course a lot of these little maggots don't ever succeed or whatever, and you just end up with this whole lot of dead spiders that rot away, sealed in these little airtight things, and it's a fairly uniquely disgusting smell. I don't think anything quite smells like it, but you know it when you see it. And of course the seller didn't say anything about that. I did notice, looking back on the pictures, there was some sign of some dirt around the holes, but the whole thing's kind of dirty, so I thought that was just part of the dust and stuff. And someone looked like they'd already broken out most of it. But the big problem with it is it makes it very difficult to get the screws out of. I've already removed them and I've cleaned out the holes. What you've got to do is just keep putting paper towel and cleaner and stuff down there to wet it, and just wipe out the inside until you can get down to the screws. And then you find the screw heads are usually full of dirt and stuff, and this one, one of them, that one came out, some of them are quite rusted. At least most of the smell's gone. It's not perfect yet, but I'll give it a proper wash later. And I only just got a couple of these screws out because they're rusted. All of them had some amount of stuff stuck in the actual Phillips head, but luckily they all came out. So there's a bunch of screws, all the holes are marked on the back of this thing. 2 there, 1 there, 2 there, 2 there, and a couple of black ones on the CD player. But I actually had someone contact me about looking at one of these. I think hers was a WQ-CD800, so it's a more compact version. And I still haven't got around to looking at that for her. She wasn't in a rush anyway. But I'm still in the middle of doing some renovating and stuff, and I saw this one on eBay. Well, actually saw a different one on eBay. All the speaker grills were torn or something, and I sort of wanted to know whether you can even get these off before and repair them before. They kind of look like stocking material or something, probably all it is, that type of thing, before I'd buy one like that. But so I just thought I'd buy this one, even though it said it was dirty and it didn't work. The other one didn't work either, but it was a lot rougher looking. This one probably won't clean up too bad, but I certainly wasn't expecting to unpack the box and get a horrible stink. And yeah, as soon as I looked at the screw holes, I thought, I know what that smell is. This one was actually well dried up inside the spiders and stuff, but man, did it smell. It's a disgusting smell. And the seller really should have said something about it, unless they're one of these people that can't smell disgusting smells. But yeah, rather nasty when you open the box and it smells a bit like a sewer or something. But we won't think about that sort of thing for the moment. At least you don't have to put up with the smell. I can still slightly smell it when I move this thing around. I guess the main thing is to switch this on, and it looks like, yeah, the dirt's got down in that. So we've got to fix that. I mean, these are sort of known for lasers going in sharp, so we could have faulty lasers or anything. This other lady's one, I think, sounds like it's just not reading. But it's a very interesting mechanism. And I did come across, there is another sharp one which actually has 2 drawers down underneath here. 2 actual drawers that slide out for CD players. There was a cheap one on eBay, and I did contact the lady, but she couldn't find a box for it or some excuse, so unfortunately couldn't get that one sent out. I thought that'd be another unique one just to look at if the price is right. And this was still reasonably expensive with postage. But I thought I wouldn't mind looking at one of these mechs anyway, just to see how they work, since I've never actually seen one. It's already on tape, standby. Oh yeah, we've got CD, that's lit up, radio, sounds like those speakers are going. So not much more on that. I think the antenna was busted off this one, he said, yeah, and rusted, not looking the best. think I did notice the antenna looked a bit rusty on the screw, so that's always a bit of a warning sign, but the interior of it seems to look okay from just a quick glance. Radio really dead as, I think. Yeah, interesting. Unless I unplugged something. All I unplugged, I think, was the... Although that is on the back part, so I wonder if something has unplugged. I did unplug the power thing. Let's try and get this apart again. I was pretty reluctant the first time to come apart. Oh, it presses on a little thing there. And there's that smell again. It should touch on the back of the radio here somewhere. Oh, yeah, a couple of little metal links, I think. So possibly because I've got it apart, it's not touching the best. Let's see if we can get that on there. Still pretty dead.
Straight through to the final. Highly connected first.
With full claims to asylum, 5 of the 7 women who are granted humanitarian
Connection is each person with mental health with psychosis can have it.
Well, AM works well, but FM seems to be dead.
That would be.
Could it be the switch?
Fan.
Tried the mono stereo switch. Yeah, just completely dead. Oh well, let's see what the CD does. I guess I better get that antenna wire out of there so we don't short anything out or touch any nasty voltages. I think I can hear the laser going. We'll give that a quick clean because that's probably filthy like everything else on this machine. Yeah, not too bad, but it definitely wasn't shiny on the laser. Where's the switch on this one? Right there, I think. Yeah, it's okay. Open, close, but no, the laser's not doing anything. So this is a bit of a, has it not returned to center? Where's the gear? There it is somewhere. I think if we get in behind the laser we can just wind it out a little bit. No, I can't really tell what I'm doing. Let's turn the power off and get the power supply unhooked. Can't see anything from underneath. Tip it right up. There's a gear there. Probably shouldn't just randomly poke a screwdriver in there, but if you're careful. Yeah, laser's definitely wound back now. Because the first thing to always check is, does it center the laser back to the middle? As soon as it's got power on the CD player. And they've made the lead really short on this, which is a bit annoying. Which it does, even while the door's open, it does that much. Yeah, interesting. No searching for table of contents or anything. Let's check the lens. Oh yes, the lens moves from side to side, but I cannot push that up and down. Does it just come up? Is that what we're missing? Oh, it does lift up. Some of these I think did sit down, so they only lift upwards. A lot of lenses you can push them up and down But the switch is changing it from open to disc. Oh, wait a minute, I wonder if this... Do we have to select a disc or something? Well, the tray's working. Press play. Ah, we've got to press play. Okay, so that's the secret. Never trust these things to actually behave the way you think they should. I'm going to have to fix that, because that's going to be like a PlayStation 1 eject button and be annoying. Oh, are we on pause? Something just made a noise. It's trying to spin it. And it's going to look for disc 3 now, so it didn't like that. Don't have to put any discs in here, but I'll just put some rubbishy ones, won't matter. Press play, it flashes. Oh, it's spinning now.
Listen now to the wind, baby.
Let's hit disc 2 again, see what it does. It can go both directions, so that's a cool thing. I was reading that one now. Oh, cassette player even actually runs. Not sure what mix this thing has in it. They look like tensions a bit on the back, but they're just plastic on the front by the look of it. Well, I guess tensions have plastic on that bit, don't they? But I can see a weird little bit waggling back and forward where the tension auto stop would be. It's actually a little bit of a slot in the plastic. But yeah, not tensions, I don't think. So if we open that, we can take that disc out. What do we... Go to 3. While it's open, I guess we can take that out. So I guess I got to make it so that the laser doesn't fire up while anything's open, but that's usually what the door switch does. But maybe I've got an extra layer to stop it running. But yeah, what an interesting mech. If we hit 5, it goes that way. Oh, dirty as hell. And if we hit 1, it goes back that way. So maybe it just goes in one order. Uh-oh, and now we're spinning the motor, so maybe we've got a bad build in there. Error. Might have to turn it off and on or open it. No, that doesn't clear the error. I guess just changing out a CD. It's jammed. Oh, moving it, got it going again. So it can only go in one particular order. All of them, or some of them on that side. So if we go to 5, yeah, it puts 4 on that side. Yeah, you can see 4 of them stacked. Go to number 5, go to 3, we have to go back the other way. Get the middle one. Number 1 is the bottom one on that side. And we're jammed again. It doesn't like number 1. Oh, banging it out. Oh well, that's actually working better than I would have thought. I was expecting possibly a dead laser in this one as well, but let's get rid of that. I wasn't expecting dead FM radio, because that's a rare thing for the radio not to work. But do we have some damage in here? The cobwebs there. I think the board's in good condition besides a bit of dust on it, because you'd expect something like corrosion or something to cause those sort of issues. Looks like we've got a screw at each end. Now possibly the speaker grill's come off as well. There's a screw up in that corner, but we've got to take a couple out to get rid of the, well, at least a couple to get the CD player. Have a look at where the belt is in that thing. But probably more reliable than the normal stacker CD players, which used to have all sorts of problems and often difficult to fix as well, though not very nice to work on most of those. Do we need to loosen the front panel? Here we go. I did see a couple of screws here earlier. Oh, that one's got, oh, there isn't one there, just one there by the look of it. Oh, I saw a screw then, obviously. Because we're going to have to fix that other button. Okay, now we've probably got some connectors have to come out. So that one's jammed under the board. Yeah, so a couple of black wires here. How do they just pull out? Oh, there's our loading belt by the look of it. Yeah, a bit loose, I think. So that's hidden under there. I think that says 29th of the 8th or 05 290894. So I wonder if it's a 1994 model. Could be that old, I guess. Probably somewhere around the 90s. How do we get these ones to work? I guess we can just work on it like that potentially. The belt grips pretty well, but then given we've got a dirty old mechanism there, that's probably still not enough. We've got a screw down there. I think we can take this whole lid off this thing. And hopefully get to the CD part. Now let's lift it up. And I can see what must be a screw down in there somewhere, because there's a round or half round opening there. Guess I should have pressed the eject button myself. Oh, here we go. So there it is in its more naked glory. Some little thing maybe. Oh, it's got rollers. Ah, the dust. The dust is everywhere. Where did that sit? Like so. I don't think it's going to sit in there the best now. That needs a massive clean out. I'm impressed it works out well with that much dust in it. 94, 5 and 6 we got on the plastic. Now where's that's our eject button there, isn't it? That's the one. How does that come apart? We've got some sort of little mechanism. Oh, I see, the couple of little clips to hold the button itself. Except they don't seem to want to do anything. Oh, there we go, that's holding it back or something. If we press those. Oh god, look at that dust in there, unbelievable. I think we've got another shed radio or something here. It's been somewhere, that's usually where the wasps get to them. I've actually had TV sets with mud dauber wasps, so how they were getting in people's homes, I don't know, but some people had them actually coming in their houses, I think. Must have had the windows or something open a lot. And yeah, it can be very difficult to get the screws out when those little things have been in there and clogged everything up with dirt. But it did happen occasionally. That should be enough to fix that, I think. But we don't have the other parts bad, but usually it's just the button, yeah, or not. No, that's clipped in. Yeah. So it must be this other bit that's actually... How do we get this to release? Looks like it's got to push over slightly further than it currently is. What's the release bit? Oh, you would press it that way? No, that should slide. Okay, so I've got that clean. Does this come out now? Yeah, even that's a bit rough. Does that just push across to come out? I'm not sure what they've done here. looks like it should pop out. Oh, there we go. I think we'll just give that a clean up too and re-lubrication. Sometimes this plastic gets all worn and scratched up, and that's why it doesn't work very well. That button, yeah, it has a central bit that comes through one of these. So that probably wants a bit of a clean up as well. The one bit I didn't take much notice of, and that hole. Yeah, just get any grit out of there. Get a bit of this plastic grease, polyglide stuff, whatever they call it. Probably doesn't matter too much as long as you get some sort of lubrication. So what is it? It goes that way. So yeah, all along the bottom here, I guess. And probably these upright bits, it's sliding in. And yeah, that little inner hole where the eject button goes. It just fits in, sort of, that's it. So those two bits of plastic there are like a spring. That moves fairly well. I'm just going to put a bit on that as well, since that's rubbing against it. See if that works. Should we really... What have we got? We've got these other pins as well here, I guess is another thing. These 4 pins are part of what goes up and down, and they did have little dobs of grease on them by the look of it, so let's put a little bit on them. Because the problem is you tend to get friction on these things over time. I might even put a little bit on those bits near those tabs. If it's had dirt in there, it's probably ground it away a bit and made the surfaces rough. Yeah, still doesn't want to work real well. I mean, it is working, I think. Oh, maybe we've got to put the door in, do we, to get it up? Yeah, that pushes it back up. Better. It seems to sit a little low, but... Well, maybe it's just on a little bit of an angle. Oh, yeah, it's on a lot of an angle now. Yeah, it doesn't seem the best. Oh, you can see the yellow grease there on the little holes. But again, how much wear this thing's got over time. Maybe I'll put a little bit more grease on those pins on this side as well, because it looks like it had plenty on there. There's nothing worse than a sticking eject button on these doors. Yeah, it does seem to sit on a bit of an angle, but it works now. And yeah, it does kind of need the door shut to come up fully. But that whole thing needs a good clean. At least it's functional again. And I think I'll have to take this outside and give it a good dust. I guess, can I wind those things through with this at will? That drops the laser down. Oh yeah. Oh, you can hear it grating a bit. Yeah, well, the laser doesn't want to go back up now, but if we wind that, we can just possibly keep winding them, but yeah, it's not making the nicest sounds. This almost needs fully disassembling. I reckon you can just take these top bits off and pull the trays out maybe, because this pretty much wants taken outside and scrubbing off and washing all the dirt out of it. I think it works pretty well considering, but never touch the lens. Oh, of course we can't get the last one out. Yeah, they just come across and let's get that out of the way. Oh, they've got little plastic links between them. Oh, are they links or... yeah, I don't know. Is that a... it kind of catches... yeah, I think they are links. There's two pins, and yeah, those links definitely go up under the next one. I think there was a menu online for these. Maybe I should have a look on how to disassemble the thing. Because there's probably a method to it. Or maybe we remove one. Yeah, it doesn't make it easy to work on. Can we get number 5 out of there? But that's certainly an interesting mechanism. I like that one. I haven't seen this style before. Yes, a couple of rollers under there, and yeah, some liquid, probably just grease hopefully, and lots of dirt. And that's sort of coming, go back a little bit, should come out. Except, what's this little thing? Is that just a bit of dirt? Yeah, it's just a bit of dirt, I think. It's got one end up. What does this end? Oh, there must be more pins. Yeah, what a design. Oh yeah, you can poke that little pin out. Oh, there we go. That was enough to get it free. Oh, so there weren't pins there. What the hell was holding that in there? There must be something. Just been difficult, I guess. Oh wow. And there's, yeah, just slides down a ramp. Yeah, quite an effective, so it's like a chain of little CD holders, little trays, and yeah, these little links hold them together, and they just follow each other across. I'm not sure what actually is driving this chain though. I mean, we know it's that motor when I turn it, does it, but goes up a gear under there. Looks like there's another gear sitting in there. Oh, that's the one to wind the CD player up. Yeah, I can see the wormy wheel, but that's also must drive. Whoop, I think we just lost a link. There's the missing link. So they come out now by the look at this as we move across. So probably just keep winding them through and doing that, and you can disassemble the whole thing. Which is probably what I have to do to see how this thing actually works in there. What is actually driving what to move these things? Oh yeah, so that one came out a bit better, as more like what I would have expected. And then if we carefully prise that out a bit, it's just a matter of getting them back in the right order, I think. And so even if you have to disassemble these mechs, they're actually quite simple to work on, which is good. Oh, there's a tooth gear there. It must grab onto each one. Let's try not to lose our links. Oh yeah, of course there's just a continuous track along them. Couldn't really be much more simple, could it? What are these little sprung bits? Are they... do they do? They flick in there. Oh, it's one of the little... what are they? What's a normal disc? I think 5 inches. So what were they? A 3-inch or something? I think they'd hold a little 3-inch CD. I think I only ever even saw one of those. I might have even bought one. Did I actually buy a CD single? I had a feeling I did buy a CD single that was in that format. But they never really took off. They just stuck with the normal sized ones with just not much burn on them as a general rule, but they were going to be a thing. I know I definitely saw one in the shop. I can't remember whether I actually bought it because I don't remember having a smaller disc, but not sure where I saw that. But I don't think I only ever saw one CD single in that smaller format, so they're not really a necessary thing. But I guess they had to make everything compatible with them just in case maybe they were big in Japan or somewhere, or America, or who knows. I guess the idea was to save a little bit of plastic or something, but obviously it wasn't considered enough of a saving in price or whatever for the consumer or the manufacturer to bother, at least in Australia. Yes, that's quite a good little design that just keeps running along. Using the one gear and just everything linked together. And I've lost the gear, there it is, or the pulley that runs them. Uh-oh, we've got a couple of little white links there and they're not lifting up. Should they lift up higher? I think they should. Oh, well, that's designed to block at that point, I guess. Yeah, that must be the end of that one, so we've got to take it off the other side, I'm guessing. Oops, dropped my screw. Shouldn't do that. And there it is. Now we've come off the gear now, so we don't need to worry about that. And yeah, that just comes out there. Yeah, little stopper pins, I guess. And that's all there is to it, really. Oh, we've got a solenoid on here. That pulls that bit, so that must engage and disengage, but yeah, a lot of grit in there. Hopefully not too gritty. And that could definitely do with the lube, I think. But that's it, that's the CD mech. Yeah, motor and solenoid on one board. Looks like it's got an IC driver, or is that just the connectors? No, it's just a couple of connectors. Now, while I got this apart, can we see anything to do with the FM radio? I don't really want to try and have to fix an FM radio as well, but that's probably why this thing still stinks a bit, because there's a bit of muck on that. That's where one of the screw mounts went. Yeah, everything's going to have to be pulled out of this anyway, I think. I'm pretty sure that's the antenna there. Oh, there's some corrosion on it. That's what I was worried about. There's some corrosion there. So yeah, she's had a little bit of a rough life, I think. Though I'm not sure that's bad enough to cause any issues. But whenever you see the dark patches on the board, it's worth a check to see if anything's eaten through the copper or anything. And yeah, that's just the antenna. Because of course the AM's got its own antenna, so it could be quiet because of that, I don't know, but possibly. Let me just take a couple of screws off to get this out. I think that display board has to come out with it, but does that at least loosen the radio off, because like I say, all this is going to have to be hosed out, I think. Oh, the knob fell off. I should have took that off first in theory, but yeah, just that connector I think to this board. What have we got here? Oh, it's just an earthing thing around the display or something there by the look of it. Oh, there's a washer under there. I wasn't expecting that. Something metal on the front there. It's earthing. I've got a couple of absolutely tiny little piezo tweeters in there. I don't know why they even bothered, but I think they do put out a little bit of sound. But probably more for show than... I think that's glued on there, isn't it? Yeah. They had me unglued. So I can't get that out until I drop it, I don't think. And I can't drop it until I get this other board out of the way. And I can't get that out of the way because it's glued in place. Oh, there is a proper clip there, I think, under that glue. Yeah. I don't know if it's a clip or it's actually a mount that holds it. Like that top one there. Yeah, a bit of a weird design. I think there's another knob here, that's what's probably holding it together a bit. Yeah, let's remove that. That's finally come loose. Oh, that's the graphic equalizer. And that is a mess. There we go, finally. They are absolutely filthy. And something's holding this. I think it's just these. Is it just the wires or is it something else? Unplug the speakers there, I think. I've got a cassette connector. There's still something holding it. And your cassette head connectors. That's one. I think there's another one here. And looks like I've got a record playback switch as well. How do we get that free? That looks a little corroded too, maybe. Gotta flick the spring off that. Yeah, I don't like this wiring. I probably should have unsoldered those bits. But at least we've finally got that out. Yeah, rather corroded track. Have a closer look at the other side for any signs of damage. FAA53AW board by the look of it. Oh, looks pretty good. So that's our tape stuff there. That's our radio section. So that other corrosion down here has nothing to do with radio. But possibly that link there, I think, is the FM antenna. I don't think that track's eaten through, but I reckon it'd still pick up something even if it was. So it was there. Yeah, it's fine. And I think we'll just disassemble the rest. Let's see if this speaker grill comes off. Possibly going to take the speaker screws out as well. Yeah, it feels like it's definitely springing out as soon as I undo that. There's a clip there, I think. Ah, yeah. Well, at least they've designed it by looking at it to be repaired. I think that's a clip there. And there. At least I can take it off and wash it, I guess, if nothing else. There's something down in this corner. Is it a speaker screw? Yeah, it feels like it could be. Oh, I wonder if the whole speaker's attached to the thing. Oh yeah, that was... Yeah, it was that bottom speaker screw. So there's the grill. It's kind of glued on by the look of it, or melted on or something. I guess in theory you could probably remove that, and like I say, it's just like a black stocking or something. That's the kind of material it is, but getting it to actually hold in, I guess you'd have to stretch it and or glue part of it and then stretch it and then glue the rest of it. At least that comes off. It means a rusty tweeter. Oh, that's good to know. But I think I have to remove all the speakers anyway, or at least the woofers. Kind of good that the tweeters are rusted, I guess, because it means I don't have to worry about making them more rusty, because they can just stay in the water, I think, as long as it's dried out fairly quick. Oh yes, there's metal around the graphic equalizer, maybe a bit of hum suppression or something. Doesn't seem so willing to come off. Just a bit tight. And I guess I might as well remove the cassette players. They're going to need a good clean, possibly new belts. Those belts are actually pretty good, I think. Possibly the CD player, just cleaning it will get that thing to run well again. Enough that it doesn't need a new belt, because that belt felt reasonable, but might be best to put a new one in there anyway, since that's going to be more likely to slip with all that load on it. And we'll have to take this off. And yeah, I'll be glad when that smell's gone out of this thing, but I think a bit of it's around that screw. I think there's a bit down in this corner here. I can still see some brown stuff even though I tried cleaning it. And we better eject these. Yeah, well, look at that for an auto stop. Shouldn't be too hard. I guess I can possibly look up the sharp manual and see if it says anything about these mechs. AZ-C they've got on them. A Z up there and there. Bit of a stamp on the back. Maybe 93's a year, I don't know. But yeah, the back's kind of similar things in similar places, probably similar length belts to a Tennyson. This front plastic's sort of similar, but yeah, around the head and that's a bit more plasticky, I think. And then yeah, this is just one that rotates. They've just copied the same design, I guess, and added their own little unique thing to it. I guess there's a bit of a clutch there that keeps this thing going until it doesn't, and then there's a pin on this wheel that grabs it, or it grabs the pin, and the wheel winds the mech again and drops it. Looks like the doors are just the pop-off ones, they can probably stay in there. But we don't want our woofers getting wet, I don't think. That's the easiest way to do this, I wonder. I don't like soldering those piezos because it can damage them pretty easily if you're not careful. Let's see if these unsolder easily. At this end, I think we're going to have to just cut them. It's the easiest way. They're wrapped around the speaker terminal. So let's cut the piezo wires and we'll solder them back on when all is done. And I think the speakers have demagnetized my screwdriver. Not sure that screw is even in. Ooh, that doesn't sound good. Gotta be careful you don't rip the cone off. Here it is starting to rip the little mongrels. Starting to pull the surround, these have got foam surrounds. That might want a little bit of glue in there because that was stuck to the plastic and it started peeling off. Probably if we push it up, can I get to that bit? Yeah, it started. Cool. Is any of it stuck down? That ain't real good, but it's actually pulled off from right around there, even though it was only a little bit stuck there somewhere. Oh well, good way to keep them safe is just put them like that and wrap some tape around them. Probably better if we get the terminals out of the way, but anyway. But when I salvage speakers out of things, I tend to just wrap them like that out of boomboxes and stuff, and then they can go aside and won't get holes poked in them or anything. So that's our stripped down, oops, something fell out of it, stripped down cabinet. I'll give that a really good wash. And yeah, the tweeters should be fine in there with a bit of washing. It's not like you miss them even if they do stop working, but I don't think water really affects those piezo things. I'll probably give them a little bit of a polish because they're meant to be shiny. Maybe a bit of silver paint if that doesn't work. And hopefully that'll get the worst of the smell out of it. It's absolutely filthy. We'll clean everything, put it back together, and just have to see. I think that's 694. Have to see if we can get that radio to run. I've got most of the case cleaned so far. This one has got stuff underneath the door, so I guess since we've got to do a bit more disassembly, we might as well have a look at how that comes apart. So we've got one of those little, maybe to slow it down things there, and some sort of latch here. Not sure if this has to come off, but I assume it probably does, to allow these spring bits. Do have to remove that. I reckon that's got to come off as well. Probably won't hurt to get it off to clean it anyway. This thing's certainly not in the best condition, and some of what looks like dirt isn't even just dirt. That should allow those two bits to spring inwards, I guess. Oh, does it? Oh, I see. It's got a large bit on it. Does that have a hole to go through? It does have a hole at the end there. It's just you've got to be probably get it in exactly the right spot, I guess. Yeah, that's it. Not the easiest thing to line up. Okay, so that's got our two. Oh, that one pop back in. That'd be right. Should have swung it right up. There we go. Oh, there's actually screws on those. I didn't even notice that. That should, well, I better watch our spring here. I guess if we remove that completely would be the ideal thing. And it looks like these just lift off or clip off. There's two flat bits on the pins to have to be in a particular spot or something. Oh, yeah, something happened. Don't ask me what I did, but yeah, there's definitely a couple of flat faces, or one flat face. No, they're an odd shape actually, but that'll allow us to get all that disgusting mess out of there. Because nothing was really going to get up in there and scrub it out. Oh man, that is some serious dust. Ugh. I think it's more than just dust even. And thankfully the smell's gone from this now. I cleaned up around all the screw holes, gave them special attention. And anything that looked like it could have dripped out of the screw holes or anything. And it's pretty well odour free now, I think, so that's good. Because I was going to have to set it on fire otherwise. Just to get rid of that smell. Because, yeah, that is disgusting when it smells like that stuff. But yeah, I don't think this thing's going to come up and look real great, but I didn't buy it for its looks. I'm definitely not a fan of this era of boombox. Other than to see some of the interesting technology they put in a few of these things. they certainly came a long way since the early ones. And I mean, these were more probably used as a home music system. This one, there's no sign it's ever had batteries in it. Terminals are in pretty good condition. Probably some other things I got in there, but not battery acid at least. And I mean, they wouldn't have lasted it real well on batteries, these sort of ones anyway. They're 12 volts, so quite expensive to fill with batteries. And no doubt they got through them in a reasonably short time. And there is a manual for this thing online for this and the 400 model. This is the 800, that's right. And I've had a look at the FM radio. I noticed on the board there's a little 3-pin sort of thing, like a little almost flat bit of circuit board or ceramic or something, and that's some sort of bandpass filter. Then it goes into an IC, and the fact that it's making all that noise would suggest, I believe that hash sound is mostly like the mixer and oscillator from the actual radio itself. It's not picked up off air as such, so it's internally generated noise. So the fact that's running would suggest that chip's mostly going, it's got voltage, all that sort of thing. So it's either that bandpass filter is open or short circuit to ground, it's got one pin to ground, or the front end of that chip's probably dead. I'm wondering if this was probably someone's shed radio and the FM died for some reason in it, that's why they got rid of it, I'm guessing. Otherwise it'd probably still be happily doing its job. And it's possible a bit of static from nearby electricity or something killed the input of that chip. And a little 9-pin single in line package thing. So probably not expensive to get if it's still available. But I'm guessing that chip's most likely dead on the input. Unless there's something shorted across that input to ground or something like that. I can't see why it would have stopped working really. The fact it's making noise there, I think, proves that there's voltage to that chip, which just leaves a dead chip really. Very rare those things die for no reason though. It just sort of sits on like that. Get our little hinges back in. Did I have to get the spring on first? I don't know. And I sort of left that spring sitting because it's got to go in that hole. It doesn't go that way, does it? It sort of goes backwards to what it looks like it should do, I think. So a bit of metal, I think I went through there. Must be what that little piece sticking out is for, and then that should go onto the little post. And yeah, it goes that way. And like that, that should be it, I think. Doesn't look quite right in the spot. Oh yeah, it goes there. Don't think it should sit down that much, should it? Of course, these aren't going to work now. Come on, slide. Well, we don't have a slow release, and that's why they have a slow release. I think that's right. It's a rather wonky looking spring now. I don't know if it was that bad before, but let's see, that hooks over that bit. That hooks over that bit. That one just had a screw on it with a big head. But it's certainly an improvement to get all this dust and filth out of this thing. Oh, how does that work? That goes sideways like that. So used to them going the other way in cassette players and stuff. But this one lies flat into the side of that bit. Now we should have slow release. I probably should really re-grease that thing a bit since I've washed it, but oh, that didn't last long. Ah, that's unclipped us. Both unclipped themselves. What? That's handy. That's screwed in, so that should stay there, surely. I don't reckon I pushed it in far enough, maybe. Did I just put it on the end of those things? That might have been what happened. Yeah, I think I just clipped it over the end bits. Didn't even notice. Yeah, it's a nice action. You don't normally see that spring, but it does stick out a bit and stuff. Which I think is how it was, just doesn't look the neatest when you actually see it there. Is that going any further? That's it. But yeah, pretty scuffed up. Could do with a good polish on this plastic, absolutely scratched. And yeah, some sort of marks on it where something's been on there. At least it's not as white. It had sort of white stuff on it. I don't know if it was just dirt or what. Oh, you can see it a bit in the light off to the side there. Guess we should clean these CD bits as well. Just dust them off. And the rollers might need a bit of a clean. I guess they're part of the mechanism. CD stuff rolling around. This must touch all the... Well, I think that's got a crack in that one. Or is that light's catching something? I don't know what that is. No, it must be something inside it. That's got some sticky stuff on it and dirty stuff. So let's give them a clean. They probably affect your CD mech, how it goes around eventually if they slip or anything, but don't know if they actually could slip because they're not actually driven. But anyway, it's got to run better with less muck in it. Some sort of greasy stuff there. Okay, they're done. Cassette player I haven't even looked at. Definitely want to do the buttons at least. Very hard to clean those inside while it's in the case. And yeah, everything, all the pinch roller and stuff's covered. Yeah, dirt absolutely covering the heads. That one looks like it's got almost got some oily stuff, or is it just a red coloured? I'm not sure what that's got on it. Phew, I'm getting a little bit of smell from this, strangely. Maybe I'm just paranoid that every little bit of smell I get is dead spider smell. Yeah, don't know. Got stuffed in the little inset patterns they put on there for the functions. That's just the plastic. I think it's that back plastic looks like some recycled stuff or something. It's not as neat as the rest of it. Yeah, it's actually part of the plastic. And those belts are actually pretty good. Nothing really wrong with them. Oh, I wonder if they made them out of slightly better stuff. A lot of this stuff from 90... A lot of these belts from the 90s seem to last better. Maybe it's again just the different conditions they're in. Maybe they were slightly better material in those days. Yeah, I think the front of these is actually scratched or something. That head is terrible looking. I think it's actually got corrosion on it. A little bit of stuff on the capstan, so it's played tapes. Yeah, plenty of oxide. I bet had a pretty rubbishy tape in there. So stage. Unless it's just build up, but yeah, the pinch roller is pretty clean like this one. Doesn't look like it's ever been used even. And that capstan, so maybe they recorded a few things. There's a tiny bit on it, but that's, yeah, virtually. They virtually haven't used the. Oh, that is the record deck. I thought that was the playback deck. Oh, so they didn't record anything on it. Or very little. But the heads have just got corrosion or something on them. I might have to give them a polish. I think a little bit of metal polish is in order because they are terrible. Whether it will fix them, well, something black coming off there by the look of it, which is just a bit of metal, I think. It's probably as much wear as these heads are going to get just about, because they really haven't been used. There's no sign of wear on them at all. Yeah, get all this paste back off. Come up perfect without quite a bit of work, but I think they should play alright. Not that it's likely to get any use, but if we're going to service it, might as well service it properly. I think they can go back together. I didn't bother taking the doors off. They seem to clean up pretty good. There's a couple of little bits on the sides where you can't really get in. Maybe you could get in with a cotton bud or something, but you can't really see it unless you're looking for it, so I don't think I'll worry about that. There's a couple of metal bits that sit in the bottom here, little slots on the bottom. That's interesting. They don't normally do that, but those decks are sort of held in. Quite a good idea actually, because I guess when you press on the buttons, then the decks don't, a lot of them kind of feel flimsy, these boom boxes. Because as you press in on the deck, it feels like the deck's sort of pushing into the unit or something. Sometimes that's just a weak bar where all the buttons are mounted, and sometimes it's because they actually do sort of flex into the cabinet. So that's quite a good design, that. And yeah, I haven't seen these tape deck mechs before by the look of it. They use the same one in both these models, 400 and 800. I think the manual for the 800 even might mention a 1500 or something. So maybe there's a few models. And yeah, the 400 is definitely a smaller machine than this. It's sort of flatter or something, so it's sort of guess got the tape decks and the CDs sitting right on top of them or something. There's the two more screws here that would have been. Oh, we've got to put a record switch bit in there. And I've got the power supply off the back bit, so I might leave that off the back cover so I can work on this a bit easier. I'll see if I can do anything with that radio. Yeah, how did this go? That bit there I think went under, yeah, like that, under that metal bit. I think that had another large headed screw on it, must have. I'm making sure I get this back together the next day because I don't want to forget how to do it, even though it's somewhat self-explanatory, I guess. And yeah, one of our grills is still, I don't know if that's dirt. Well, now that's dried out, maybe I can flick a bit of that off there because it did not want to scrub off. Oh, that's good. So that probably is a bit of dirt. That one's actually dried out now. It was wet not long ago when I put it back on. Yeah, what have we got? Some sort of washer stuck to that. Not part of this unit, I don't think, but yeah, maybe something. I'll just give it a flick with my fingernail and that might turn that dust or turn that mud into dust, or whatever it is, and I can flick it off out of here. Oh, that's a good improvement, just that bit. Because I did give them a bit of a scrub, but not too much, because I didn't want to tear them. Oh, there you go. That's a reasonable improvement. Now I've cleaned all the holes on the front, I think, with cotton buds. Got to get that graphic equalizer and radio board back in there. Oh, and of course that's still attached to the CD section because it's got these connectors that aren't easy to get out. That just needs a good dusting, I think. I think we can access them with cleaner if we need to, so I might just leave them as they are. Sometimes that cleaner affects how well they slide these slide pots, so I tend to not use it if I don't have to, if they still work alright. Which a lot of these will fill up with dust and still work fine. And yeah, where's our radio sections over there, isn't it? There's that little flat pack thing there, I think must be it, and that must be the IC that does the FM front end. That little F1 filter 1 or something, some sort of bandpass filter. Let's just check it isn't shorted to ground, because if we're talking lightning or something, I think it is shorted to ground on one side. Huh. Oh well, that might be our issue then. That would be the input side, I guess. Which thing is it? That must be what looks like a little transistor there. I think there's a link over there somewhere. Yeah, it comes in. Could there be something else here shorted to ground? There shouldn't be it, I think. That's an interesting one. I think we're going to have to remove... Oh, this needs a good clean as well, of course. Nice if I can fix it with just a multimeter. We're going to clean this. I don't know how much of this shows, if much of it at all, but this radio dial wants to clean up. I think if we set that to one end, anyway, because I'm going to have to take that gear off. There's a switch there, needs clean. Another switch there. Let's give all that a clean while I think of it. Have we lost a knob off that one? We probably have. Where did that go? Okay, so we're at one end. Well, the gear isn't going to really matter, it's just what it connects to up there matters. Oh, now it's all moved anyway. Come off in a hurry. Should lift. You would think. There we go. I was going to say that should pop off no problem. So yeah, that's the antenna link there, and then this little 3-pin thing. I mean, maybe it should measure the ground. I don't think so. I don't know what it actually is, basically. Never seen one before. And doubt you could get a replacement for it anyway. So whether we can just get rid of that. It's probably maybe in the... more into the computer age or something, they use it to reject noise or something. Not sure what else it would be for. So I don't know what actual band it's filtering. I assume it's like just lets the FM band through and not much else. Maybe it's to reject more of the TV band or something, who knows. Come on, out you come. And now I've got to remember which way around it went. Black off to away from the tuning cap, I guess. It's probably fine. No, that seems certainly measures short on the input, which I doubt can be right. The hell is it? A piece of some sort of substrate. I don't know if that's ceramic kind of. Yeah, it's fairly hard. I can see some tracks, like circuit board tracks. Are they some sort of closely coupled? Oh, I might leave it out for the moment. And what we can do is just loop across with a bit of tin copper wire, if I can find some. We're doing the two outer terminals. We should get our signal into the front end then. If I can get the solder to take. I probably should clean all these knobs as well. The display. Yeah, the display is well protected behind some plastic. Given how dirty this thing is, wow, these buttons dirty. And I haven't even started on the CD. I'll give that a quick clean before we put the board back in the unit. Wow, there's some dust in there. Spring sticking out there. God, you fucking gay shit. Well, this CD needs a bit of a lube, I think. But try and get any grit that might have got into this mech out of there. Looks like I had grease in this slot here where it goes up and down. Oh, there's the second slot here, so that's another thing that probably needs a bit of grease. Since I'm wiping everything off at the moment. Yeah, there's some dirt in there. All this cleaning distracts you from what you're supposed to be doing. Is that on? I think it is. It seems like it didn't really fit on, but maybe it did. Oh yeah, that's slid down now. Okay. Yeah, that had to clip in, and then there's another clip, the one we had to fight with the glue on it for that bit. I think we're back together. I'm not sure where that washer was, but there's a washer on that earth thing somewhere. Is that under it to contact the earth there? I think that's what they might have done. It sort of came out of nowhere. I was going to test this, but I might just screw it all back together. It's only 2 screws length to hold the radio in, and another 2 for the CD, which I've got to put the lid back on and put it all back together. But let's just get the radio board in and plugged in again and see if we get any action out of it. That we probably could actually, if you put some screws in it, it might stay there then. Hook the spring back onto the, which is still got out of whack here. Spring back onto our record switch. Just gotta get this. Get that. I think I'll just bend it and slot it in. We got our connected there. Yeah, the speaker's going there. And 2 cassette connectors, which I guess I don't even really need to get in now, but let's do it while we think of it. Easy to forget otherwise, since they're sort of hidden down. And this connector's, the wires are starting to fracture a bit on it, and some are only hanging on by one strand, I think. I'm not sure how they've... I think these are just designed so they can push them in at the factory, and that's it. I can't see any way to release them. I'm pretty sure there isn't a way of releasing them. Now, normally you wouldn't have to fiddle with this machine so much as I have. And in fact, until I put this CD player in, there probably isn't much point putting this back together at all, because it'll just cause trouble again. But the white wire was at the back, so I might just put a dot there to remind me. Yeah, I'll just leave the CD disconnected. I might even unsolder this other one. Looks like one of those just connects to the other one. Oh yeah, CD comes in and then it goes back out to the display board. So that makes sense. That's got it. Let's get rid of that completely, which is what I should have really done in the beginning, but I was hoping to get away with it. And that's the power supply board. You just push a little tab somewhere in this, I think must be in that square hole going in through the battery compartment, and you can slot that out. That is fairly rusty, that one, but I don't think that's from batteries. Just rusty on one side, but of course we have to be careful here because we've got 240 volts coming in there, and on those pins might even be best to at least insulate that bit with a bit of insulation tape or something, just make it a little safer, because I'm just going to use this bare on the bench. And of course there's still pins and stuff you can touch there, but that's, could even put a bit on the front of that transformer I guess, and then it's almost impossible to touch it, but still treat it as dangerous. And just keep that battery a bit away from it. That won't even sit there without pulling on the board. Not a great design. I'll just have to set it on its knobs for now. I'm going to need them, aren't I? I can hear something making noise. Oh, that's because we're at full volume. Where is it? That's the antenna there. Still doesn't sound like anything at the moment. Yeah, still nothing.
Still putting this big part into a campaign.
Well, sounds like it's working. Yeah, I think that dubbing speed switch is just a uncovered slide switch with the old crude rough-ended bit on it. The other two have got knobs, but yeah, still no FM. Guess the next thing we check is there's voltage there to that chip. Now it's possible that bandpass filter does just go to ground. It's just looks like circuit board tracks or something, so maybe it's just a coil to ground that allows the frequency to jump the gap to the next bit. Now one of these ends of this chip should have B plus on it. 7 volts. Next pin is 7 volts. Oh, something happens when I do that. That one I think is the ground pin. A lot of them have about 7 volts on them. I think pin 1 there that I just touched last, that's the input I think. So that connects to pin 1. Which isn't shorted to ground. I think that pin is ground maybe. And we've got 6 volts, so that would suggest that IC is probably shot. The whole board looks somewhat corroded. Solder joint really looks almost dry. Looks very dry really, but could be like a tuning cap getting through or something, who knows. Could be that, yeah, I guess the possibility is the tuning cap's not actually feeding anything into it to change the frequency. So it's just stuck on one frequency. Yeah, definitely one of the connections to the tuning cap's not the best. And I can't seem to solder it. Why won't you solder? Is that corroded or something? Something's not the best. Maybe it was a dry joint. There it is.
Kingston FM. Huon and Kingston FM. You're listening to 95.3 Huon and 98.5 Kingston FM. Huon
Well, that's
and
definitely
Kingston
FM.
FM.
Oh, I'm glad I resoldered those joints because it must have been one of them. I suspect it was that one I noticed didn't look the best, which I think was actually on the tuning capacitor feeding into the FM station. Maybe it was just stuck on one frequency because the tuning cap wasn't feeding it changing capacitance or something. Oh well, that went a lot easier than I thought. I'd be very surprised if any of these chips failed, and even with a bit of static or whatever, they're normally pretty well designed. But not knowing this thing's history, you'd never know. But there you go, looks like we've got the FM working. So now I guess we can put this CD player back together. Just tried it again and it's still running. I put that little bandpass filter thing back in there, still works with that in there about the same. A few other dry joints I checked and found. There was a couple on some capacitor near the other chip in the radio. Some on this connector that's here, I think goes to the tape decks. Power and switches, one on a transistor, one on the end of the amp chip. And this connector which comes up to the volume control and stuff, that was getting pretty dodgy, probably because I moved it round. But it shouldn't give up that easy. Also this power connector where it comes up. So a few dodgy joints in there. There are others that aren't 100%, but they're the main bad ones. So it looks like the solder's starting to go in it a bit. But there's our little link that was replacing that bandpass filter. That can go in the rubbish now. So we'll put the CD player back together now. And then I guess we can, hook it all back up and see if everything works. Okay, we'll start by putting a bit of grease back in these slots that the trays go up and down in. At least I think I'm in the right bit. Yeah, it comes along. Got a million of this grease as well. I'll just have to use that other one. A bit along here. Seems to be another bit that slides on. Number one was the last one we took out, I believe. That slid across here and hit the end stops, is that right? Oh yeah, now we're running on the, that hits on the end stops there, so that, it does run in and then down, so it does, it's like multiple sliding bits. We've got a slot, and then we've got this other kind of slot here as well. A third one, and then the main track that goes across. I'm probably going to need quite a bit of grease for this. Not sure how much it actually had in there. It wasn't a lot, I don't think, so maybe we'll keep it to a minimum. But I'm sure it would add a little bit to keep everything happy. And then we've got the other side that I'm hanging on to, all the same thing. Still a bit of old grease on that side. But you don't have to get it over everything, usually it'll smear itself around as long as you've got a bit on there. Oh wow, I really am getting low. Oh well, another thing that will get used up by the look of it. Something I never thought I'd end up completely getting rid of. But yeah, it wasn't a lot of call for it in VCRs and stuff, more CD players, but it still never did that many that you used up very quick. Shame you can't get these ones anymore. These are quite good little handy greases to have. Just about enough to do this job and not much more. So I think that'll do. Should be plenty. Oh, I've got to also do, might as well do this side of the laser. And the slide bar, I usually just put a bit of light oil on while I think about it, because that's easy to forget. I just get the usual cotton bud soaked in oil so you can control it a bit better. And just put a tiny bit on there. right the way along it. Bit of muck on there. And I've got some grease on there, which doesn't help. Probably won't matter, but yeah, it feels a little better. Because that would have been pretty dried up from all the dust that thing had on it. So when I put it, oh, it's got a bit of grease already building up on there, that's good. Now, if my memory is correct, so how do we connect number one to the other one? So number one must have been over this side, surely. No. This thing, I think number one has the stoppers. I think the other link goes into the bit next to the stopper. I'm pretty sure it was over this side. If I can get them all in the place I've got to go. I had this trouble with the other one, trying to get it to come out. Yes, it comes across, it hits our... Yeah, of course, it's normally continuous. It's actually, so here's a spring it hits on. Yeah, we should be able to lift that one up. It's loose. Let's get number 3, put it on there, and hold it. I think that's probably the key to it. Probably should have grabbed that with some pliers. Put that in, and just make sure it doesn't fall out, or neither of them fall out. Ah, slippery little, and then push it. Yeah, that's the key. That's how they go. I got that hole there for a reason. You should be able to do the whole thing with it. Yeah, it just drops in. Well, and it drops out as well, a little so and so. Another one of these jobs you really need 3 hands for it, I think. Yeah, just gotta watch it goes. It gets trapped in there before it can fall out. At least the gear is running on its own now. No, this is the one that's got extra pins in it because it's the end. Stopper pin things. Okay, we're in. Get that one across, that locks them in. And we should have a functional mech, I think. Besides, I'm going to put a couple of roller cover things back on, but I think we're safe to wind it. Yeah, that one hits the end. I'm not sure, it must be that solenoid probably triggers the mech to rise. That's why I can't get the mech to rise just by winding. Well, that one hasn't dropped. Or is it not meant? Oh no, maybe not meant. Oh, now it's dropping. Always best to run them through by hand, just make sure nothing jams. That way nothing breaks if it does jam. I don't know what we call this mechanism. It's not a stacker and it's not a carousel. I guess maybe a slider or something. I'm not sure if any other manufacturers use them either. Now I'm getting greasy fingerprints all over everything, so we better check that as well, I guess. Yeah, I have put grease everywhere, of course. So we might need a quick re-clean of this thing. Maybe a bit of metho to dissolve it. I'll get it off my fingers as well. But yeah, that's all sliding nice and smoothly. Well worth putting that grease in there, I think. But yeah, I'll try not to touch the grease again now, because everything you touch is greasy now. And of course, don't get it on the belt either. which is a bit hard when your fingers are covered in it. Still looks like there's something there. That one I think is pretty clean. Besides a bit of dirt. So yeah, the thing that engages when it's finally in position, I'm not sure how it determines that it's in position, but when this thing lines up, I guess, I wonder how they do that. Maybe it is something to do with that gear, so we might have an alignment issue if we put these in wrong or something, so that's a possibility. I'm not sure, it's got to be that gear, I think, is how they work out where these are located and when to flick the mech up, so we might have an issue. That's right, I should have really read the manual, but I still didn't get round to it. I'm guessing that goes on the other side. I think the 4 little tiny screws, oh, they're not that tiny, but smaller ones, are what held this together. So I might have to be a little cautious with this. It may work, it may not. Hopefully we don't have to pull it all apart again, but let's see how we go. I've got to fix that little wiring harness thing there. Got to fix this ribbon cable too, because that connector, it's sort of, I'm pretty sure they just push in, then they solder onto the board. They have them on the board, I guess, wave soldered, and then in the factory they just poke the wires in and they're trapped. And I don't think there's any way to release them again. They're just solid core sort of wire, tinned or whatever. I'll spread them a little bit further apart. We'll just strip them and solder them to the board. Problem is they're multi-stranded with a light tinning, so they do break with a bit of movement. And they're only very flimsy wires. Why they can't put a proper connector on there, I don't know, but I guess in most cases no one's ever going to need it. But and I believe that white wire is number 1, which is what they're labelled on the circuit board. I'm pretty sure that's how I marked it, with the black dot for the white wires. So we don't want to mess that up. Well, at least those joints have all been resoldered, I guess, is one good thing out of it. Probably going to have to try and get under there and start soldering before I move the CD, which makes it difficult. That's one reason I was never the world's biggest Sharp fan, because I always like to do stuff like this. Well, maybe not always, but yeah, they certainly had their moments. think I got the end ones done. Yeah, just I think. I can't really move it too much. Screw that on. I'll just have to see if it works properly or not. See whether the mech rises when it should. And then yeah, unfortunately I've got to fiddle around with it more to get the lid back on. I don't want to put that on until I make sure it works. Power supply on something again. This wire's just too short. Wrong switch. Oh yeah, it lifts up. And well, I guess shut the door. We can probably force it to. Yeah, it's looking. It's not finding, so it's looking again. I might even run it right through. Looks like it's just gone back to number 1 and given up. Excellent. I think we should have a working unit. I don't think I'll bother actually trying to play a disc any more than that. Let's see if I can get the lid back on without breaking anything else. Where were those? 2 at the front, 2 at the back. I think I can probably get it partially back on. Obviously the front bit won't slid in, or slot in properly I should say. Just so I can partially get this back together. I think anything saving is a good saving at the moment. Well, those screws can go in there. I guess they're the same sort. Yeah, we're really yanking on that cable already. Where were those? I thought they were the bits, oh they're the bits of the half circles. They're forward up under here by the look of it. I'm already really yanking on that cable. Maybe I should undo that board. That might ease it a bit, but let's see if we can just get this horrible thing back together. That's right. Now I remember we can swing this right over, can't we? And I can't see where the other screw went. Yeah, so screw there, 2 at the back, 1 hiding down this hole. Okay, that's right, I thought those cables flip over that way, that's a bit better. Still not ideal with this thing. And now this should slot into place properly. Screw it off. Yeah, very picky now. Did play up a little bit when I first put a CD in it, and then I think the first one that played up on, then it seemed to work alright after that, but not so happy now. Just wondering whether something in the wiring has got jammed up or something, you never know, but don't think there'll be dry joints in the CD player. I'll just take 3 of those screws out and just check. Everything looks fine up in there. I don't think I've upset anything.
This learn a Fabian who
That made it worse. Another thing I wonder about is, should I try and clean down inside that laser if I can get the cover off it? Get the 2 clips on the side. Hopefully this comes off without me having to pull it. Yeah, that's it. Pulling the whole thing to bits. And then what I used to do is bend the cotton bud on an angle. Sometimes I think I had to fluff up a little bit on the end further down. Dip it in the metho. Lift the lens up as far as you can. Yeah, this is one you can do it. Get down in the hole. Rotate it around a bit. Because there's just a prism down in there somewhere. Sometimes you can even get under the lens itself on the back. Probably shouldn't have to, but sometimes they go up inside there. May not make any difference, but I know I had a couple of these sort of era sharp lasers in units that were just out of warranty, and they're playing up, and I thought, well, it's got to be dust, because it's pretty unlikely they would have failed that quick. And I did that, and that fixed it for the customers, saved them a new laser. There you go for disc 1 again. Certainly picky. Whether I made any difference or it's just random. Now we could have a dodgy spin motor in this thing, could have bad rubber mounts. Yeah, I'm not sure those rubber mounts are the loosest. They can go hard. I don't think oil normally fixes spin motors when they play up, but they did play up in Sharps as well as Sony's. And pretty much cause that sort of issue, bad tracking, inability to track very well, that sort of thing. Might just put a bit of oil on it, probably won't hurt it given the conditions this thing's been in and the amount of dust in it. And sometimes just going over the adjustments a little bit and tweaking them can help a bit. Or it could just be random. Possibly a bit better, hard to know. Yeah, still pretty touchy on that one. Yeah, I have had rubber mounts in CD players cause that sort of issue. They get hard over time sometimes. They feel alright. Without pulling it all apart, I think they're not too bad. I say lasers and these are known for not being the best. But plenty of adjustments there. We could even give the laser power a tiny tweak up, I guess. Maybe try that as well. Turn it slightly clockwise. Maybe made it a little better. Should have took more notice what tracks I was on. Usually got to play the same part of the disc over and over, and that's the best way to find a bad spot and tweak things till it plays it better. Well, it's better than it first was, but yeah, we'll have to try it again from cold, I think, because you just can't trust these things. But at least the CD player is largely running. Mechanically, it's good again. And yeah, we haven't had a jam on disc 1, so like I say, I think that belt is okay in there. I completely forgot about it at this point, but maybe I'll just run it through its paces a bit. Best way is just give them a good test run and soak test and all that sort of thing. Try them from cold a few times, because you just never know with electronics. But yeah, it hasn't jammed on number 1, which I reckon lubing that up would make a big difference. Even if the belt is getting a bit marginal, it's going to work a lot better now. So we've got to put our power supply back in place, which I don't think I showed taking that apart, but I left the screws in here. I think there's 3 of them, plus it's got a little bit of circuit board just to shore up the power socket, which is another good design, making things solid. And that's just our FM antenna pushes on those couple of wire links on the circuit board. Yeah, 3 on the transformer. So at least it's made to be pretty rugged. At least when you're not pulling the CD out and messing with the wiring. When it's all together, it's a pretty solid unit. That's just stop the socket flexing so much it doesn't just push against the circuit board, and this should just slot in. I'll make sure I get it the right way, because yeah, we've got the big spring on the outer on the other side, so it definitely does go that way. And yeah, I think that square hole clicked into something, which yeah, makes sense. The release catch would be on the other side where you can actually get to it. But it doesn't seem to want to go in. Because it's our catch. There's the catch on the side there. It's actually blocking the things. I'm pressing on it with my finger and yeah, push that in. Bingo. And I think that bit of wiring, oh wait, that's what it was. Was that the one here? It was all folded up in here, I think, several times over, or twice at least. Yeah, get that nice and neat. Handle's all been cleaned. I think we can actually put this thing back together, remembering to plug the power in. Which is not the easiest because there's not much room, not much length on the wire. That over the little lip on there, and we should be able to slide home. Hey, these bits don't butt together hard, the edges do, and a couple of these screws, some of them actually need still cleaning out. Get the last of that grit and dirt out of there. Yeah, it's definitely dirt coming out of that. And it probably stinks a bit too. That's not too bad. I'm loath to put it in it. It's so much trouble to get this thing apart. I don't really want to put screws back in there, but they'll be right. Besides a couple of rusty ones. But making sure I get all the dirt out first. You can see when you get down on the metal. Quite a big unit, this one. I guess it's also possible that the broken out bits in here weren't someone trying to get in there. They could have just been the wasps that actually hatched, because they always leave at least one bit of dirt at the end because they start the hole with dirt, I think. But there were definitely dead spiders in some of them, so maybe some are successful and some not so much. Maybe they forgot to lay their little maggot on there before they sealed up. Who knows, it's only a wasp. But I was thinking someone had tried to get into it, but it's quite possible no one actually touched it because they just chew their way back out. Just leave a couple out. I've got plenty of screws in this thing. There's another 4 here, so I've got one there. I don't know which are the best ones, maybe the upper ones, if I've got 2 good ones for there. Only there really to strengthen it when it's moving around and stuff. Maybe to stop the cabinet making some noises possibly too as it heats up and expands in the sun or something. And thankfully no sign of any smell in it anymore. Certainly didn't clean up perfectly by any means, but it's not too bad. Certainly better than when I got it. Top is not the nicest. Let's just check everything runs again. Well, we don't really need to worry about tape. Let's see if old Jimmy wants to work. So that's a display. I guess we go to, those buttons are a little wonky too. It's taking its time, and yeah, not happy as that because I've got it on its side. Yeah, now that's jammed. So it's a bit random, I think. plays quite well now, but the other one, not so much. Certainly wobbling around a bit. There could be something out there, but yeah, crappy lump of muck on it. I don't know where that came from, but that probably doesn't help. Whether that's affecting the first tracks, it could well be. And we're on to play. Well, it certainly made it work again, so I don't know what we had on it. Probably wobbles around a bit less screwed back together, so when I was banging on it before, I probably shook it around more than it normally would. Certainly not the best for portable use. So we just press play on 3 with no disc. Oh, here it goes. Yeah, then I'll check 4. Then it, yeah, must reset, goes all the way back to 1, which I guess makes sense if you left it sort of playing through. I guess it has a, does it have just like continuous play? I guess we can find out. I think that would be the idea with it, like a carousel one or whatever, just keep. God, how many tracks you got on there, Jimmy? Yeah, that got to the end of that disc, and it looks like it's flashing up 2. So it does just continuously play through them. Yeah, gone to disc 3. Which of course there isn't one. It doesn't seem to want to stop. And now it's stopped, I think. Just flashing a bit longer, but that's that one. So quite a cool CD mech. Yeah, pretty bland unit besides that to look at. But probably sounded alright. Could play 5 discs continuously if you just wanted a compact sort of stereo system. This would have been fine for a lot of people. Sound good enough for a lot of people's taste. And yeah, we've seen everything inside that. So quite an interesting CD player and something a bit different. So thanks for watching.